All right, let's go! Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of the Carton Show. Why is it special? Because we're the lowman on the totem pole here, and that means we work on all the major holidays. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Great to have you here. We have a great football show for you because there's not one, there's not two, there are three huge games in the NFL today, and we're going to discuss it. Plus, Jimmy Johnson is going to join us from the Fox set across town.
Yes.
And, of course, Plaxico Burress is going to come by. But first, this guy right here, Super Bowl champion, Willie Cologne. It is Thanksgiving morning, so let's get you started right away with Thursday morning headlines. All right, let's start off in Detroit, where the Lions looking to hang on to the second best record in all of football, playing the Green Bay Packers. And with more in that game, let's go live out to Detroit now, where our co-host and dear friend David Jacoby is standing by. Jacoby, live from Detroit. What's going on today, Cookie?
It hasn't been like this in Dallas for literally years. These people are out here at 7 in the morning. They're drinking, they're hanging. The sun's out. I don't know why, but it's never been like this. They are 8-2, and they face the Packers. They're trying to go 9-2. I don't think this has happened since 1875. 1875 is the last time they had a winning record at this point.
It's also interesting that you're talking about the Cowboys live from Detroit, which I guess you got a little confused.
A little bit.
What city he's in. A huge game, obviously, for Detroit, favored by more than a touchdown against Green Bay. We've seen these guys play, it seems to me like a lot of Thanksgivings, right? But for Detroit, you have a chance still to have the number one seed. Sitting at 8-2, only the Eagles have a better record. These are the games that good teams win, not to knock Jordan Love and obviously what's going on in Green Bay, but Detroit is obviously the superior team, and you got to win this game.
Well, you talked about it all week, Craig. Detroit has figured out how to win ugly, especially with Jared Goff coming off 3 interception games. The defense has played lights out. Shout out to Aiden Hutchinson. But overall, when you talk about Green Bay, they have a lot of injuries. So how are they going to pair against this game? They don't pair well against Green Bay, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this should be Green Bay in a rout. Pardon me. This should be Detroit in a rout. Anything short of that. And you're going to question if they're good enough to hang with the likes of Philadelphia. All right, another game that's going to be cooking later today. It's the late night game, of course, and that's Seattle and San Francisco. And as poorly as Seattle's played, they beat San Francisco, and you're in a tie at the top of that division. And with more on that, let's go live out to Seattle now, where our own David Jacoby is standing by, somewhere near a fish market in Seattle. Jacob's set the scene for us out in Seattle.
It's raining. I'm going to be honest. It sucks here. Can I go back to Detroit, please? They've got a fish market, I heard. Where are they? The fish. You see the scales on it. Scales taste good. It's Thanksgiving. I don't think this is going to be on the menu. But I'm here in Detroit. There's scales in my mouth. And I think this is the Seahawks play here, right? Is that how that works?
Craig. Somebody save Jacoby. You want me to get it?
So, reporting live here from Seattle. The game's gonna be good.
By the way, that fish is real, and I'm the only guy that now doesn't have to explain to his wife where he was in between the show and coming home. All right, look, Seattle, they've not been great offensively. Kenny Walker's doubtful for today's game. He, of course, is their star running back. Geno Smith has not had the same year he had a year ago, but you're still there because San Fran lost those 3 games in a row. Seattle has a shot to get right back into the picture for the division.
Correct. I think the bottom line with Seattle, they just have to figure out how to win right now. I think the Niners are the best team in football. We talked all week about it. It's their defense that's going to be the issue. Geno Smith is dealing with an elbow injury. Shout out Drew Lock. He may be starting today.
And of course, the big game on Fox, the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commodores. And with more in that game, why don't we go live out to Big Dallas, Texas, where our own David Jacoby is standing by outside, I think, the stadium, but I'm not quite sure where we have him. He's in Dallas right now. Jacoby, what's cooking in Texas?
Well, I'm here live from Texas, and one of the first things I learned is that no one actually dresses like this.
Nobody.
I thought this would fit right in here, but I'm here outside the stadium, and the cheerleaders are dancing, and it's a little early for that. I'm not really sure what's happening, but I do know that everything is bigger in Texas, including the alcoholic beverages that everyone's drinking at 7 in the morning.
There you go.
There you
all
go.
Right, so very nice to see him at all three sites today, and much more from Jacoby. But before I'm being told, actually, before we take our first break and try to get some semblance of order here on Thanksgiving, they're telling me to go back live to Jacoby in Dallas for a quick last-second update on the Dallas Cowboys, Washington Commodores. Jacoby, what do you got?
Well, there seems to be some disturbance here amongst the local people here in Dallas, Texas. There's been a little bit of a switch-up. The cheerleaders were happy. They're cheering on the team. They're excited for the game. They host what you call the Commodores, which I call the Commanders. And there's been a stampede. There's been a turkey stampede here. I got to go. There's a turkey stampede. And I will see you guys later. We're going to eat one of these. I heard that Harold, the handicapping turkey, is going to join us later on the show. I got to catch a flight. I got to get back to New York City to do the show with you guys.
There you go. From Dallas to some type of turkey farm, there's Jacoby. And he's right. We have the greatest prognosticator in America, Harold the handicapper, a live turkey, will join us in studio. And Harold, we'll be making our picks today against the spread for all three games.
So what happens if Harold he doesn't?
Oh, well, so the deal is this. If Harold doesn't have a winning day, we eat him tomorrow. That's just how that goes. And it's our little secret, though. Harold doesn't know that. Anyhow, coming up, we got a lot cooking on football for you. We'll start with Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys right after this. Welcome back to the Carton Show again. Happy Thanksgiving.
Morning.
You allowing us in your homes this morning as you get up early to make the turkey and all the other stuff. Of course, we do have Willie Colon, and Jacoby's back with us on set now. Dallas Cowboys, Washington Commanders. Look, Dallas a prohibitive favorite in this game. They should be. One of the big things they talked about yesterday, though, was their pass rush going up against that front line of Washington because Sam Howell happens to be the most sacked quarterback in the league. It could be a long day today for Washington. And here's Mike McCarthy talking about just that. Go ahead, guys.
I think just like anything, statistics are, they're in analytics are they're bright lights, so you look at that and, and it's no different if you're on the other side of the conversation. But protection is a huge part of every passing game. So, we understand what you did yesterday. It doesn't guarantee you anything today.
Yeah, look, basically what he's saying, and as a player, I think you appreciate this and get it, is the stats do mean something. Yeah. You're going to use those stats to come up with a game plan to attack Washington, and obviously their offensive line isn't very good because Sam Howell's under duress a lot, but you still got to go out there and do it. Right, you can't play football on a piece of paper.
Right, at the end of the day, you also got to understand Michael Parsons has 10 sacks. He had 2.5 sacks Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. There's not a man in this league that can block him one-on-one. And I know that's a little exaggerated, but he wins 40% of his rushes. You know what I mean? So when you got a guy with that type of impact, who's a flat-out dog on that side of the ball, you got to figure him out. And the thing what's weird about the Washington Commanders is Sam Howell was leading the league in passing
yards.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, how does that happen if you got supposedly the worst offensive line in football?
That happens because you're behind by 2 scores.
Well,
at the end of the first
you're
quarter.
throwing the ball 50 times a game.
He's been sacked 51 times.
Yeah, which is crazy because he's not immobile.
No.
It's just that he's under pressure all the time. There's a big thing. You can speak this not because you're a big guy, but as a football player, they talk about it's your day to eat. That's like a phrase guys use in the locker room. Well,
very on par.
It's got double meaning for Willie, of course. That's right. You think Thanksgiving's special? Not in his house. It's just another Thursday.
Right.
That being the case, I know that's what the message is to the defensive linemen, to linebackers, to guys like Marka. You're going to eat today like you're going to the Hong Kong buffet, and the Alaskan king crab legs aren't going to run out.
Yeah, but I also told you this may be a trap game for Dallas, right? Because they've been riding the high for so long, and out of 10 Thanksgiving games, they come out 4-6, right?
Yeah.
So here they go.
It's not a guaranteed W historically.
That's my point. Okay. So if you need somebody to show up, it has to be this defensive line because Sam can throw it. Dak is supposed to be that guy. But overall, this game shouldn't last long. This game should be over by the third quarter if they take care of business.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where Washington's going to fight. They do have some talent there. No one's going to say they don't. And Terry McLaurin, and they do throw the ball a lot, and they do have some success. They have played very well against good teams. They gave Philly all they wanted, although they ultimately lost that game. There's a lot of comparisons between them and Arizona where they're not really good,
They're
But
scrappy.
they've got pride.
Yeah.
Like, they show up. Like, they're going to fight you, and you're going to have to make plays to beat them, unlike a lot of teams where, when you roll the ball out there, it's a wrap from the first whistle.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain teams on the schedule, the Panthers, the Jets, the Giants, where you're just like, all right, those are wins. The Commanders.
You didn't have to say the Jets.
I know.
You did.
Guys, I know. I meant it intentionally. But the Commanders are not a guaranteed victory. And like talking to our researcher, Troy, a Cowboy fan, he's concerned. The Commanders always play the Cowboys well on Thanksgiving. And I like this game for the Cowboys. I don't like -12.
It would be embarrassing to what Tommy DeVito put up 3 touchdowns on him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
if Dak doesn't double
if Dak doesn't come here and put up at least 4 or 5.
I agree, but listen, it's a divisional game. Maybe that means something, maybe not. Because the Commanders aren't any good. Obviously, Cowboy fans are going to play the game of. I'm really concerned about this game. Yeah, because they're not the Giants and they're not the Panthers, and they're going to try to beat you.
No question.
Those teams just lay down like, take me. Well, relax. Sorry, I have a family program, but
Take me.
I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, the Dallas Cowboys should win this game by 30.
Correct.
But they're not going to win it the way they beat Carolina and the New York Giants and the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. You're going to get at least a little kickback from Washington. That being said, this should be an easy breezy double-digit win for Dallas.
And you don't want to see the setbacks, right? You want to see CeeDee Lamb get off. You want to see Michael Gallup. You want to see Brandon Cooks. He had a good game last game. You want to see the guys who've been popping off the tape pop off the tape this game.
And here's the funniest thing. I always tell people, if you're going to gamble, obviously do it responsibly. That's a good message to send out there. But Cowboy fans are kind of like Pavlov's dogs, right?
Okay.
Where, if you don't know the story, Pavlov would ring a bell, the dog would eat, and he conditioned the dog, hear a bell, eat.
Sure.
Well, it's like, Thanksgiving Thursday, They bet
tradition.
so much money on the Dallas Cowboys that I just checked before we came back from break. That spread is at 13.5.
Oh, wow.
That spread has gone up over 3 points from when it first started, and that takes about $30 million to do across the board. So Cowboy fans are like, but you made a good point. Just because they always get the home game, they don't win it all that often. 4-6 in the last 10, right?
And correct. And so what's the biggest thing about Dallas going into this game, too, besides not snagging it from the Commanders, they also have to get ready for next week, right? Because now they got the Seahawks coming. And you don't want to go against a scrappy Seahawks team and possibly lose 2 in a row. Can't happen. And then you got the Eagles behind that. So you got to go.
We have not given our picks on the game yet, and that's because today's a very special day here. A little bit later on in the program, right around 9 o'clock Eastern time, we have the greatest sports handicapper in America, Harold the handicapper. Harold is a live turkey who also has a knack for picking games.
Okay.
Like 90% against the spread. So Harold's coming in later today, and Harold will make a pick on all 3 games today. Now, coming up after the break, what if I told you that an active professional athlete called a current referee a bitch?
Are you allowed to say that?
It happened last night.
They did happen.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Thank you for joining us. Everyone knows the story very quickly in the NBA that Scott Foster referees games that Chris Paul plays in. Chris Paul's team loses, period, stop. That's a historical fact. Well, it got ugly last night as Chris Paul gets ejected by Scott Foster and then does the unthinkable. Calls him the same thing that Trayvon Diggs called Dak Prescott.
Oh, no.
The B word.
Oh.
I've been told I can only say it once per show, so we can't even write it down for you. But the stars there are ITCH, and that's what he called Scott Foster. He gets ejected. I'm not even going to play the post-game audio because I don't care, but he said it's personal. You think?
Yeah. He actually teed up Steve Kerr right after.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see Chris Paul get thrown out of there, but the Golden State Warriors are shelling themselves. They just don't have any.
Yeah, they're an old team. They're a small team, and they're not a fast team, and that does not bode well in the West right now. But much more basketball once we get through another amazing season of the NFL. And with that, we go back to Jacobs for something we call First in Football.
First down, First in Football. Take it to Buffalo. Stephon Diggs spoke about the new offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, and the energy that he brings and the source of that energy. Here is Diggs.
That preparation process is key, and I feel like I give a shout out real early, but I give a shout out to Coach Brady on bringing a lot of the juice. I think he drinks a lot of coffee and a lot of Monsters or whatever the brand is, because he brings a lot of juice and he lets you know that if y'all don't got it, I'm gonna bring it for you. So, I mean, it's obviously working, and let's keep it going.
It's a change. It's working. He's energetic. Stephon Diggs wants to keep it going. Here's my question for you. I have the Bills upsetting the Eagles this weekend.
Okay.
Is anyone else with me at the desk?
Yeah,
No.
I am. Yeah, and it's not because I have a thing with Philly. I know Eagle fans watch this going, enough Carton, pick us once in a while. Well, I got to double down on what Jacoby said. Not because of who the offensive coordinator is. And frankly, I hate these postmortem shots at former offensive coordinators. And that's all that was. It was another attack on Ken Dorsey, who, by the way, a year. Because it's like, this guy's got juice, this guy's got energy.
He didn't drink enough coffee.
Everything's going great now. I mean, to be fair, the Bills have played a single game with Brady as the offensive coordinator, and it was against the Jets.
Right.
So let's slow our roll on how much better Brady is going to be long-term than Ken Dorsey was, because last time I checked, Ken Dorsey as offensive coordinator, the Bills won AFC East championships.
Sure.
And their offense was high-flying and great, right? As soon as you go through a game where Diggs doesn't get 10 targets, he's going to hate Brady like he hates everybody else. That being said, I like the Bills against the Eagles.
Me too.
And I like them for a variety of reasons. One, the spread is whack. It makes no sense to me at all. But I am still convinced that the Philadelphia Eagles are not as good as their record. I respect their record.
They just beat the Chiefs on Monday night. They held them scoreless in the second half.
Barely.
What are you drinking, both of you?
Everybody
I think
holds
it's the
them.
fish that got you going crazy.
Everybody holds them scoreless in the second half. The Broncos held them scoreless. The Dolphins held them scoreless.
But they did it in Arrowhead.
Yes, they did.
The Chiefs are 44-10 at home.
I get it.
Andy Reid undefeated.
I want to be clear. The Eagles are a great team. I'm not saying they're not. But they're a flawed team, and I think the Bills refocus right now with Brady as offensive coordinator and recognizing as badly as we've played, we still control our own destiny. I think the Bills put up a big fight.
But Craig, we talk about statement wins all the time, right?
Yes.
Where are the Eagles' statement wins?
They just had one on Monday night.
But the
Chiefs are the best team in the
Every one of their wins
AFC.
has been by one possession. They have not sort of like said, we're a better team, we're going to win by 20
but
points. They've not done that once.
Listen, we flip all the time. Either the win means something or it does mean something.
You're right.
They won. They held the Chiefs
let me stop you
scoreless
right
in their
there.
hometown.
I'm against Jacoby.
Good.
I'm with you. That was a statement win.
Yes.
100% going to Arrowhead, beating Kansas City in their
Jalen Hurts on a bum knee.
I'm with you.
Pound for pound against Patrick Mahomes.
But here's what's weird about Philly, and I respect Philly. I really do a great deal because they do what a lot of teams struggle to do. They know how to win.
Sure.
Whether it's the other team making a mistake or not, the Eagles have figured out how to win games where they don't play at their peak, right?
Right.
A.J. Brown a week ago, once again, yelling and screaming that he's not getting the ball. He's having a record-setting year, right? There's dysfunction in that sideline, and yet somehow, some way, they have figured out a way to win. At some point, average play has got to bite you in the butt, and I think it's this weekend.
They're 9-1.
I know.
Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
They're about to be 9-2 after this
But we award the Detroit Lions for winning ugly, right?
Yes.
But we don't give it to the Eagles, who are the best team in the NFC.
That's the only way the Eagles win. The Lions have found different ways to win. And I'm going to say something that I know is going to come back and haunt me and maybe be a career changer. Possibly, right?
Don't do it, Craig.
You have the
option not to do what you're about to do.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to
do it. You have the option not to do it.
Yeah, but I'm going to do it because careers change from time to time. I'm going to say something. It's going to be objectionable in the city of brotherly love.
Should we get up for this?
Here we go. The Eagles are the worst 9-1 team in the history of football.
Oh, no. You forgot Willie Steelers. You forgot about Willie Steelers. Moving on to
By the way, I don't even know what that means.
He just wanted to hurt Willie's feelings early in the morning.
I just know in Philadelphia they're still trying to catch turkeys for dinner tonight.
Good morning. We're going to second-hand football. New Bengals quarterback Jake Browning does not lack confidence.
No.
He's heading into this weekend saying, I've won, I've done it before, and I'm about to do it again. Here is the extremely confident backup quarterback, Jake Browning.
I would say that at every level that I've played in, I've won. And so there's something to be said about that. There were years in college where I was throwing a bunch, always been accurate, never been afraid to air it out, and have always had a little bit to my game as far as scrambling.
I love this. He's like, I've always won. I won high school. I won in college. I'm going to win in the pros.
Yeah.
No chance. I got this. We're going to beat the Steelers. What do you think, Willie?
Yeah, he played in the Pac-10. There's not a lot of defense going on. Valley, he threw 94 touchdowns in his 4-year career, 34 interceptions. I get that. And I love his moxie. I mean, when he went out there against the Baltimore Ravens, he didn't waver. But at the end of the day, he didn't light it up either, right? And he's the first time he's going to go against T.J. Watt and company, who, by the way, are pissed off and hungry. Why? Because they just lost to the Browns. Why? Because Matt Canada got fired. Why? Because Mike Tomlin, I know for a fact, said in that building, like, y'all ain't going to fumble the bag on my watch. We're going to go get him. So as much as excited he is to play the Steelers and think he's going to be that guy, he's in for a rude awakening. So we'll see if he has it. I don't think he has it. And the Steelers, it's a must-win.
Listen, I love guys who have a false sense of confidence. I think it's great, right? Because I can relate to that.
Right.
Like, this is the greatest show ever on TV. Just ask me.
What, it's not? It's not? It is. It is.
I tell myself that every morning.
Yeah, what do you mean?
It's all good. But it's funny how he views himself, right? He comes across as such a douchey frat guy in that regard.
A bro? A Chad?
Like, I'm just thinking about it because,
Chad Browning?
dude, you weren't even drafted
Brad
to be in the NFL. Your college career ended 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You were waived by the Minnesota Vikings. You couldn't even make the practice squad there originally. And yes, Cincinnati saw something in you, and they figured you're never going to play. We've got the Heisman Trophy winning, greatest quarterback in the draft, Joe Burrow coming out.
Yep.
So we'll just have you out there because you can throw a spiral. Now he's talking about how I've won at every level.
Never lost.
Not even that. He hit the people. He hit the people. Was like, they called me sneaky athletic. I don't know why. Like, bro, because you're sneaky athletic.
Yeah, and I'll give you one other one. In your storied NFL career, you've thrown one touchdown pass, which is as many touchdown passes as Tim Boyle threw in 3 years of college. But that's another story for another day. I would say this. No one has any great expectations because he's an unproven kid playing in a huge spot, divisional game, NFL, with a team that's really good around him and a rock star quarterback that obviously is now injury prone. I love the confidence. I really do. You can't play the NFL, you know this, without having that kind of bravado and confidence. The problem, though, for Jake Browning and a lot of other young quarterbacks is these guys are different. Mm-hmm. The best players that he faced in college aren't playing in the NFL this weekend, right? Because they couldn't make it. And that's the aspect of the game that nobody can really appreciate how much different it is when you get to this level. Jake Browning's going to find out quick, and it ain't going to be pretty.
But there was a part of me that was like, I kind of like Jake Browning.
Yeah, you like him. Oh, listen,
I liked it.
You can't stand in the NFL huddle and start shaking and mumbling. It just doesn't work out, especially when you have Jamar Chase and some of the weapons around you. They have to believe you believe. And if you don't believe, they're going to be like, Coach, who's next?
I tell you what I would do, though, if I'm Jake Browning. I'm glad you brought up Jamar Chase. I throw him the ball every single time.
You got to get him the ball.
Every time I drop back. And by the way, I'll say this about Cincinnati. They're not going to now go into a shell and run the ball 40 times. No. That's not their DNA. They're going to let the kid throw the ball more than 30 times, there's no doubt.
You saw it against Baltimore.
And now the issue is going to be, all right, they have a very good offensive line, actually. Don't get a lot of credit for it. That offensive line does its job. Browning's going to have some moments where he has time to make a play. Mm-hmm. If I'm Jake Browning, I'm in bed all week with Jamar Chase. How do you like your breakfast? How do you like your tuna? How do you like your chicken? How do you like your steak?
You need me to pick you up.
You like that al dente pasta? I got you. You need a ride? Do your kids need anything? I'd be in bed with him all week, servicing him in a manner that a great wide receiver needs to be serviced by a young quarterback. That's what I would do.
I'm going to get that visual out of my head and move on to third and football. Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Dolphins, had some really interesting thoughts on his star cornerback, Jalen Ramsey, compared him to someone that you would not expect. Here he is.
Me.
Like, you have Rudy, in a once in a generation type skill set, for a guy that size, and like it can't help. There's no way to avoid the ramifications for the rest of the team.
I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but I do know Jalen Ramsey had 2 interceptions last week. Can Ramsey make this defense a Super Bowl contending team along with the offense?
No, he doesn't have to, though. The offense makes it a Super Bowl contending team. And while Ramsey did have 2 picks, the last one in the end zone, what really amounted to a Hail Mary kind of pass, I give him credit for it. He's made the defense better since he came back, as we all thought he would. Makes Howard a better player as well because he doesn't have to take the best wide receiver every single down that the other team is going to be in a passing situation. But they don't need to have a world-class defense. It's very rare to have both. San Fran is kind of teasing the Ivories and having both statistically best offense, best defense. When you have that, you're almost a lock historically to go to a Super Bowl. The Dolphins are not going to have at any point this year that world-class defense, but they don't need it. It's funny. I'll use the Jets. It's an easy comparison. The Dolphins know that defensively, just don't let the other team score more than 24 points. And we're pretty good because our offense is the best offense in football when it's firing on all cylinders, right? You compare that to a team like the Jets. The Jets defense says, we got to hold you to less than 6. You follow me? And I think that's the difference in Miami, why they don't need this world-class, 85 Bears defense, because the offense is capable, although we've seen a couple teams control them more lately than we did early in the season. There's still a high-powered offense that can score from anywhere on the field because of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, but historically on defense, Dolphins have always had that one pass rusher, either Jason Taylor or Cameron Wake type guy. End of the day, they don't have it. The only guy that pops off the tape from the defensive standpoint, as far as their front seven, is Christian Watson, their no tackle. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, you got to figure, he's coming off a knee injury, right? So who knows where he is from a durability standpoint. But I like Miami solely because of the offense, because one thing they can do. They can score and they can outscore you. We saw it week 1 against the Chargers. So we'll see what happens. But I think he's a solid dude.
I would say Ramsey for this defense is more like a home run hitter in baseball. It's like he can make that one big splash play that flips the field and turns the ball over.
Look, they got Ramsey for the same reason the Cowboys got Gilmore.
Correct.
Veteran presence at cornerback who has a nose for the ball. And that's why both those teams made those deals. We got lots more football coming your way. Happy to say that Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy J!
Oh, JJ!
Yeah, that's coming up in about 25 minutes. Jimmy is getting into, of course, the Dallas Cowboy Ring of Honor, which is great. And after that, a little bit later on in the show, the greatest prognosticator in America is in the building. There he is. That is a live shot of Harold the handicapper, our game-picking turkey.
What a good-looking turkey.
Get in my belly.
What a good-looking turkey. Hey, Willie.
All right, we are back on the Carton Show. Okay, guys, that's Harold, the world's greatest handicapper, picking football games, and Harold's brother Henry is here just for backup. No turkey travels alone this time of year, obviously, and that's for good reason. It is Thanksgiving. We'll have Harold come out on set in just a little bit to pick the 3 games today against the spread. It's a first here on Fox Sports. Now, from that, I should also remind you, we're going to be back here tomorrow, live again for a little something we call a Black Friday edition of the Carton Show. Now, not playing today are the New York Jets, but the New York Jets play the Miami Dolphins in the first ever Black Friday game. And despite all the nonsense with the Jets and Zach Wilson and the 4-6 record, they're barely hanging on, Willie, to a potential playoff berth. And now they're turning that potential to a guy named Tim Boyle.
Yes.
Nathaniel Hackett recruited Tim Boyle when he was at Syracuse.
Oh, that helped.
Timmy didn't want to leave Connecticut. He loved Connecticut because where else do you get to play when you never throw touchdown passes? But Connecticut. Here's Hackett talking about Boyle's underwhelming collegiate stats. Go ahead, guys.
When it comes to stats, there's so many different ways to look at numbers. Good, bad. There are people throughout this league that have been very, very good and one of the best ever. And there are those that then all those same people are not as good. So I think that that fluctuates, and there's so many things. That's why this game is so great. So many different things that change that. Personnel, situations, so many different things.
Listen, I'm going to give the Jets credit for this. The Jets have become when Nathaniel Hackett gets fired from this job, No joke. He's going to be on TV selling ShamWow, right? Like, they're the greatest pitchmen, and here's why I say that.
Yeah.
For 2 months, every week I heard Robert Saleh talk about how Zach Wilson looks great in practice. I was like, this is going to be the week. Now Nathaniel Hackett, offensive coordinator of the Jets, who's known Tim Boyle for a long time, and he did have him in Green Bay under Aaron Rodgers, so he knows the system and all that nonsense, has now convinced me again that I'm going to get somehow competent quarterback play out of a guy that, and again, I want to be clear, folks.
Those are the stats.
There are times when I get accused of embellishing a bit. Maybe that's an accurate charge.
Go for it. Just go for it.
I can accept that. But I checked, I double-checked, I triple-checked. 3 years at Connecticut. 13 interceptions.
Yep, fact.
1 touchdown.
Those are just stats. Nathaniel Hackett himself just said, those are just stats.
Yeah.
Don't let the numbers get in the way of the eye test. And the eye test will tell you that he's also an awful quarterback. Not just the numbers, the eye test and the numbers back each other up.
And here's what's funny, Willie. You could speak to this. So I'm watching as you guys did. You know, the Jet debacle against Buffalo last week where Zach gets benched and Boyle comes in for, a couple series at the end of the game. And it was like, look how calm and cool he is.
You gotta give him something.
He's like he's in the pocket. He's okay. Like, and I'm looking at him like he threw an interception. He completed 2 passes in that game, and the Jets got run out of the building. But I came out of that game going, he's got a great presence.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Watching Tim Boyle is like watching me get on the scale every morning. You know the number's bad, but you feel good.
But don't let the numbers get in the way.
Don't let the numbers get in the way.
Quantify greatness.
Yeah, like it is what it is.
And here's the craziest thing about it. The craziest thing about it, rightfully so, they're almost a double-digit underdog. You can't argue that the Jets are going to score because they don't score. We have no idea what Boyle's going to bring. I would not be shocked if he only throws the ball 15 times this game, and they kind of revert back to that we're afraid to throw the ball nonsense. That being said, and I know this
Don't say it.
I have to say it because it's still alive, and it's fool's gold, right? But if somehow,
don't do it.
Some way,
Give it to him.
Whether it's the Jets defense, and that's it. If the Jets can figure out a way to do the unthinkable, and stop the Dolphins
on Black Friday,
you guys have problems.
Let me tell you something.
At 3 o'clock.
If they do that tomorrow at 3 o'clock,
yes,
first ever Black Friday
Let's
game.
do it.
Then they are not just alive for the playoffs.
Talk to him, Craig.
They're going to make the playoffs.
There we go.
You guys are
How
sick.
you rally?
You guys are sick, and I can't wait for them to get blown out by 34 points, and we can finally stop talking about the Jets in every segment.
Well, Monday would be the last time we reference the Jets on the show.
Talking about the Jets.
But I would see I'll give you guys a little insight. Obviously, take Thanksgiving. We're going to do the same thing you guys are currently doing. As soon as the show's over, we're going to go home, enjoy our families, and all the things we're all blessed to have in our lives, right? But what you don't know, Jacoby, is that tomorrow, on Friday, Willie and I are having a Super Bowl party.
Oh, baby.
That's right. We're celebrating tomorrow's game like it's the Jets Super Bowl. Because if they win,
Jacoby,
they're getting in. If you win,
they're getting in.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, if they win, they're getting in.
If the glove doesn't fit.
Yeah, very simple.
Right on the other hand. That's what you do.
One more time. If they win, they're getting in.
There you go.
I'll be fair and honest.
Ridiculous.
When they lose, I'll be singing, it's just the same.
Hey!
Old Jets.
Hey!
But if they win, they're getting
in, Jacoby.
And by the way,
How could they possibly win?
the greatest line in
Get the
all
ball to
the
Bruce
greatest line ever in an infomercial, specifically for ShamWow, was when the guy who was the pitchman goes,
Nathaniel Hackett?
you know those Germans.
Listen.
Anyway, all right. It is time now. It was like a German invented product.
Right.
All right. I guess it's about German engineering. I don't know. Anyway, it's Thanksgiving. We're having a good time.
Right. Talk about towels here.
It's time now for the weekly visit to the jar. Discovered at the base of a Mayan temple years ago, we have obtained a jar. A jar that has the supernatural power to make proclamations. We are now at the mercy of the jar. Yeah, you know those Germans.
Is this recreational or medicinal?
Ladies and gentlemen, the jar is now open open for business.
Let's go, Jar.
All right, here we go. Okay. First one out of the. Oh, it's filled to the brim today. All right, the jar says you should know that the total amount of money wagered this year legally in this country on football, NFL football, is going to eclipse $100 billion. Whoa. All right, great. I don't know where we have that, but that's what the Jars want you to know.
Thank you, Jar.
All right, here we go. Dak Prescott has a legitimate chance to be league MVP this year.
Yes.
Yeah,
I do not believe he's on fire coming off the horrible loss against San Fran, coming into that bye week. Listen, look at all the contenders. Jalen Hurts, sure. You got Lamar, you got Patty, but Dak Prescott right now, I can't see through the damn smoke right now.
It says 2,700 yards and 21
the bottom line, he's playing like him. Confident, he's composed, he's got the offense working. You talk about Gallup and Cooks and obviously CeeDee Lamb. Ferguson is popping off the tape. They're able to run the ball at times. The defense is backing him up. He's leading his team. He's the face of the franchise.
One of the benefits of those easy games is that, you pad your stats, but it allowed them to get other guys, like you just mentioned, involved more so than they had when it was really just a one-dimensional, where's CeeDee Lamb. But look, if the Dallas Cowboys, if they get to like 13 wins this year.
If they beat the Eagles,
then he's in the conversation.
Those teams, they have
they got to win tonight. And then they got the Seahawks. So, like, we want to look ahead, but you don't want to stub your toe on the Commanders.
No, Jalen Hurts is probably the front runner right now in the NFC. Lamar Jackson in the AFC.
Yeah.
But if the Dallas Cowboys take care of business, that division's still, it's slight, but there's still an opportunity, and then he'd at least be in the conversation, right? Look at the jar being all positive here, okay?
Thanksgiving.
All right, the jar says that the greatest Thanksgiving movie of all time is not Charlie Brown, it's Scarface.
Who's doing that?
Wait, the jar.
Who's watching Scarface on Thanksgiving?
Hey, kids, come on over to Uncle Craig's house for Scarface.
Who's doing that?
Look at the pelican. Fly, pelican. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. The jar has a question for everybody right now.
About drugs.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
If you needed one wide receiver to catch a pass to save planet Earth.
Plaxico Burress.
Okay?
Plaxico Burress.
You can't pick Plaxico Burress. Here are your choices. You have to pick one of these guys to catch a pass to save planet Earth.
Plaxico Burress.
Would you pick Nelson Aguilar? Would you pick MVS? Or would you pick Kadarius Toney?
Oh.
Which one of those three guys would you pick?
All three of them got feet
now again,
for hands.
It's human life as we know it.
Feet for
Which
hands.
one of those guys are you going to pick to catch a ball to win a game?
Man,
we got to start that.
This is bad.
That space station better be rocking because I'm going to Mars. We're going to be on the International Space Station because it is not going to be good.
Jacoby, who do you?
Plaxico Burress, bro.
No, I'm going. Listen, I'm going to go.
Let's do this right. Let's agree that none of us are picking Aguilar.
No,
I was going to pick Aguilar. No, I was.
Aguilar got a touchdown on a tip ball that fell in his chest.
But you know what? He caught it.
He didn't need to.
No matter how he did, he caught it.
That is tough. I mean, it was nice knowing you guys. I guess we're all dead. I guess we're all dead.
Have to pay my credit
all
card
right,
debt.
we can squeeze in 2 more here, Willie.
Let's do it.
2 more.
Don't start.
No, 2 more. I said 2 more. I said 2 more.
Really.
The jar says LaMelo Ball is invited to my Thanksgiving table based solely on the fact he was asked what he likes to eat for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And do we have audio of this or no?
Yes,
Here's
we do.
LaMelo Ball after last night's game talking about his grandma's cooking.
Oh, boy.
Go ahead.
I mean, I got the chicken, the turkey, ham. What else? Nah, that's about it. Maybe some other shit.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the dessert. Yeah.
I thought he was going to apologize when you asked for the mic. I said, one more thing.
Yeah.
No, the peach cobbler. He didn't say, I'm sorry for cursing. He was like, the dessert.
We need the confidence meter for him.
He said, I F with that peach cobbler.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Listen,
Grandma Ball's like, that's my boy right
you're allowed to
there.
curse on TV when you get your own sneaker.
Yeah,
I guess so.
And there's one more from the jar. Willie Colon.
Okay.
One more from the jar.
Craig.
Now
I
you've
want to
had,
hit you over the head with pumpkin. I got enough ammo back here.
I know.
to knock your ball head
The
butt
jar
out.
says, hey, Willie.
Oh, God.
Hey!
The jar says, hey, Willie. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Oh!
Look at the jar.
There you go.
There you go,
Look at the
friend.
Willie.
There you go.
Too bad there won't be enough food for your kids when you're done.
I try to love
you
every week. Coming up, we have a very special visit from Jimmy Johnson. The Fox NFL Sunday crew is across town in Manhattan, about a mile from where we are right now, getting ready for a very special elongated pregame show for Thanksgiving. And Hall of Famer Jimmy Johnson joins us right after this here on FSN.
Good. Good morning, happy Thanksgiving. Welcome back to the Carton Show. We have your headlines, and it starts with the Detroit Lions. They are hosting as they do on Thanksgiving. This time, they have a winning record. This time, they're better than the Packers. This time, they're favored. Everything is new for the Lions, and here is head coach Dan Campbell talking about how things are different in Detroit.
I do think it's special, and it's a privilege to be able to play on Thanksgiving Day. You know, it's a privilege for our guys. And everybody's watching.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Dan Campbell says it's a privilege, but things are different for the Lions this year. I expect them to handle the Packers easily. What do you expect to happen in Detroit?
I mean, I'll go first now. I do too. You know, the Green Bay Packers aren't a good football team right now. Their offense is it's sputtering. It starts and stops. It starts and stops. They're just not very good. They have the ability to score. But Detroit has shown you the last couple of weeks that, like I keep saying, they've won in multiple ways now, right? You know, you get in that shootout with the Chargers. Yeah. You come back last week. You played the worst game, I think, of the year and find a way to win in the fourth quarter being down 12 against the Chicago Bears. I'm a firm believer, and I've been very consistent on the show, about if you're a legitimately good team or one of the elite teams, games like this should be easy. This shouldn't be a sweat for the Detroit Lions. But we'll get more from Willie and you on that in just a second, because I'm happy to bring into the show right now our buddy Jimmy Johnson.
Hey!
I should mention that the Fox pregame show starts at 10:30 this morning, and of course kickoff at 12:30 between the Green Bay Packers and Detroit. Jimmy, it's Craig, Willie, and Jacoby. Good morning and happy Thanksgiving, and appreciate a few minutes this morning, pal.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, and hello to you guys. Now, let me just correct you on one thing.
Yeah.
No game is easy. I don't care who you are.
Talk to him, Coach.
This is the NFL. And the NFL, there's not an easy game out there. Yeah. You can play your best. Now, if you're in college and you had one of the top college teams, well, look at here who we have.
I gotta be honest, I'm surprised he's awake.
Yeah, it's too early for all that.
Now, if you have a top college team, then you would have some easy games. But in professional football, there's no easy game.
That's funny, because I remember your Super Bowl against the Bills. It seemed pretty easy.
Hey, we were an underdog that first Super Bowl against the Bills. You know, everybody said they had all the experience in Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas and, Bruce Smith and all those great Pro Bowlers and Hall of Famers. And we had the youngest team in the league. So that was an upset.
Yeah, that's probably the greatest football team not to win a championship. We could talk about that for a long time. Let me just congratulate you. I was watching last week when the guys surprised you, and obviously Jerry Jones with you in Dallas, putting you into the Ring of Honor. My question for you on that specifically is, how did Jerry tell you? How did you find out? Because I know it had been rumored and talked about that you belonged in it, and I didn't realize how important it was to you to get in. But what was that phone call or meeting like when you did find out?
Well, of course, Jerry's told me for the last 15, 20 years that I was going into the Ring of Honor. So I knew I was going in, but I just didn't know when.
Right.
And, I think because of our age, we got to looking at each other and said, we better do it pretty quick. But Jerry told me, he said, yeah, I want to put you in the Ring of Honor. And I told him, I said, I really appreciate going in the Ring of Honor, but more than that, I appreciate you, bringing me to the Dallas Cowboys, because that was a big part of my career.
Yeah, I have a quarterback question for you. I'm talking to Jimmy Johnson. Troy Aikman's a Hall of Famer, and obviously with him and the triplets and all the success you guys had in Dallas. And I'm trying to think back to those days, and nobody wants to remember how it started for Troy. And it was ugly. It was like, this guy can't play in the NFL, right? In that first season. And then the next last year he did make a big jump. But I look at there's so many young quarterbacks, it seems like more now than ever, who are struggling and who we give up on very quickly. Were there ever a conversation as you look back on it where Jerry or you or, the executive crew that ran the Dallas Cowboys after year one said, Aikman can't cut it, we made a mistake?
No, we always knew that, Troy, was going to be a great player. I actually tried to recruit him. I was in his home when he was a sophomore in high school. And so there wasn't any question about how good Troy could be. But just to give you a story about Troy, our second year, the first year we went 1-15, and actually the one game we won, Steve Walsh was the quarterback. But the second year, we would have made the playoffs had Troy not, separated his shoulder there toward the end of the season, and we lost the last game of the season to keep us out of the playoffs. And I went and sat with Troy. I remember like it was yesterday before practice, and he didn't make the Pro Bowl that year. And I said, Troy, I'm sorry. I said, I was pushing for you to make the Pro Bowl because you had a great year. And he said, Coach, don't you worry about it. He said, you just keep bringing in talent. And once we get enough talent, I'll make plenty of Pro Bowls. And, in the last couple of years, see, people always talk about the triplets and, Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman. And they were the first ones to go in the Hall of Fame. But people didn't realize, we were number one in the NFL in defense. And so we had a great defensive team. And so, with all these quarterbacks that are struggling, they've got to have the right supporting cast if they're going to actually go out and win games.
Did you like playing on Thanksgiving, because you knew it was a home game, and although it's a short week for both teams, you never had to travel? Or is that something as a coach you prefer Sunday at 1 o'clock, Sunday 1 o'clock, Sunday 1 o'clock? How did you view Thanksgiving games?
Oh, well, if I had my choice, I would always have Sunday at 1 o'clock at home. But it doesn't work that way. I actually talked to Mike McCarthy just last week about he had a short week, to get ready for, the Washington game. And I said, I always thought that was an advantage. And he said, well, I went through some of that because being at Green Bay, going on the road and then playing at Detroit. But I always thought it was a little bit of an advantage if a team didn't have to travel, in a short week getting ready for that Thursday game.
Let's talk a little bit about the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, listen, it comes with the territory. You're the Cowboy quarterback. You're going to get dragged through the mud when you lose. You're going to get the praise when you win, and it's a two-sided coin there. But Dak looks different this year. He's acting, it seems like, much more, I don't want to say controlled, but confident. He understands the criticism comes with the job. And I would make the argument, while there's a lot of football to be played, that Dak Prescott is playing the most consistent football of his career and will be in the conversation a month and a half from now as one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in football. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think so. Dak's always been a great leader, and he's got talent. I think one of the things that Mike McCarthy's doing right now is they're trying to run the ball a little bit more. Pollard's got to pick it up a little bit, but they're playing outstanding defense, and so they're playing complementary football, and that's helping Dak. If Dak doesn't have to go in a drop-back pass and carry the football team, then he's going to be outstanding like most quarterbacks. There's very few quarterbacks that can go out there and carry a poor football team, but Dallas has got a lot of talent surrounding Dak.
If it's a Dallas-Miami Super Bowl, do you wear like a jacket that's got both teams on it? Do you gravitate to the Dallas side so that Jerry doesn't take you out of the Ring of Honor? Like, how do we play that possibility, Jimmy?
I wear a Fox Sports jacket. Hey, we cover the entire league.
And by the way, that check's pretty good. We don't have that sat down. Now, here's my question. We got Willie Colon here and David Jacoby as well. I've known Mike a long time, and Jay as well. When you guys come to New York to do this special show, which again starts at 10:30 in the morning Eastern time, 2 hours special into the Detroit game at 12:30, does Strahan act like the big dog? Is he like, let me show you around my town? Does the ego get out of control? Or is he chill and cool?
Well, with Stray, hey, he is Mr. New York. We know that. And so Stray, he can go anywhere in New York, and he doesn't ever have to wait in line. I promise you that.
Yeah, he also wears boxing gloves when the bill comes. So, well, Jimmy,
the one that wears boxing gloves when the bill comes is Jay. I never seen Jay.
By the way, if I was Jay out with you guys, I wouldn't pay either. Jimmy, listen, final thing before we let you go, and obviously appreciate your time. Obviously, most people want to talk about the Leon Lett play against the Dolphins and all that, but I don't. I want to ask you, when you look back on your storied career and all the successes, and failure comes along with it, is there a moment, is there a specific player or a time frame that sticks out to you that is the most special to you, whether it was a good one or a bad one, when you look back on your career?
Well, I think the two things. First of all, when we had an undefeated season at University of Miami and we won the national championship, that was special. I had a special group of guys there, and then when we won the Super Bowl, my first Super Bowl, that was a special time as well. So, winning the national championship and the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl, was really special for me.
Yeah, so of the rings, that one's the one that stands out the most because that's the one that broke the seal. I got you.
Or really the national championship as a player at University of Arkansas, undefeated season. So,
it's funny. We try to find video of that, but they don't have black and white video anymore.
They didn't video it back then. That's why we can talk about it without even having any evidence.
Jacoby, you want to jump in again?
I mean, we talk about the great teams that you've been a part of, obviously Miami and the Cowboys and the Fox Sports team you're with right now. But I'm still upset about you getting voted off Survivor after 8 days. Do you still hold a grudge?
No. In fact, when they were talking about who they were going to vote off, I'd been there for a week prior to the Survivor and then 8 days sleeping on the ground and not getting any sleep and bugs biting me and no food. And I lost 18 pounds in 8 days. Oh, wow. When they started talking about a vote, well, who they're going to vote off, I said, hey, don't forget about me.
Well, Willie, you got your answer. Just go on Survivor Island. You're all set.
It won't help. It won't help.
Coach,
Love you, Coach.
Appreciate your time. I remind you again, 10:30 this morning on Fox Sports. You've got the guys all in New York getting ready for a very special Thanksgiving 2-hour special before the Lions game. Appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Coach.
The great Jimmy Johnson and Fox is in New York. It's about 3/4 of a mile from where we sit right now, and they're getting ready. They're on in just over 2 hours on Fox. From that, let's go back to Jacoby for some of your quick mid-show headlines. Go ahead.
We just spoke to Jimmy Johnson, obviously known for being the head coach of the Cowboys, bringing them Super Bowls. Now we have a Cowboys game today. Yeah. The Cowboys, they will be hosting the Commanders. The Commanders, like we spoke about earlier, a little feisty, got a little fight in them. What do you expect to see between the Commanders and the Cowboys?
Oh, you're asking me? I thought you were asking Jimmy.
No, I'm asking you.
No, look, I say the same thing about Dallas in this game as I say about Detroit in the game against Green Bay. Win, and don't make it close. Right? Washington's not going to do what the New York Giants did against you 2 weeks ago, what Carolina did last week. They're not going to roll over and die. You're not going to come out there and put a 40 burger on them in the first half and see guys with hats on backwards, eating the celebratory turkey before the game ends. That's not going to happen. So the question is, how long does Washington stick around? Because they do have a couple guys that can make plays. They can throw the football. And I'm a firm believer, once we get to this part of the season and beyond, good teams beat bad teams, period, stop.
Yeah, to make this game as smooth as we want it for the Cowboys, it's really going to come down to the Dallas Cowboys, their interior of their line, because the Commanders still have the Jonathan Allen, they still have Dwayne Payne. Those guys can still really go. Overall, man, it has to be the Dallas Cowboys defense that has to show up. Like, they had a big showing against the Panthers. Michael Parsons having 10 sacks on the year and 2.5 sacks Sunday. But overall, you still have Deron Bland, who's turning interceptions into touchdowns.
Yeah.
So this should be a game where it should be ground and pound, let the defense bring you home.
Yeah, and the other thing is, again, this is where you can get caught up in stats, right? It's, the Dallas Cowboys lead the NFL on defense with pressures on the quarterback. They're better than anybody else at pressuring the quarterback, right? The Washington Commandos give up the most sacks in the league.
Beat them up.
So you would think, well, they give up the most sacks. They get the most pressure. It's going to be a bloodbath, for Sam Howell today. It just doesn't always work out according to that script. That's all, right?
And the other side of the ball, I thought once they traded Chase Young and Sweat, I was like, oh, they're not going to get pressure on the quarterback anymore. But the Commanders can get pressure on the quarterback, and they're going to give Dak a little bit of a problem today.
Yeah, and I just got to remind everyone, I know it's the late game, and a lot of you will be past that on the couch by the time Seattle and San Francisco plays. But while you have the Cowboys, much better than Washington, and you've got Detroit, they should blow out Green Bay, and San Fran is better than Seattle, that game's got the most importance of the three games. Because if Seattle can beat San Francisco, they're tied. They're both at 7-4, and now you have a dash in the last 5 weeks to a division title. So don't sleep on the late game tonight either. All right, we got to take a break, but as you know, we are about, give or take, 45 minutes away from a television first. The world's greatest sports handicapper is here. Harold the handicapper. There he is. Harold! With his muscle Henry. And Harold will be here. Harold is going to pick all three games against the spread a little bit later
Harold
on.
needs some hot sauce.
And there's a lot of risk. So Harold's coming up exclusively here on FS1.
Which one's Harold?
All right, welcome back to the Carton Show. I am not stealing that television. I know it looks bad, but it's not.
What are you doing?
We'll be live here again Friday on Black Friday. There was a sale. I got there early. I have the credit card receipts to back it up. Thank you. And yeah, I do want a pickup truck, but in any event, welcome to the show, Mr. Plaxico Burrell.
Happy Thanksgiving, buddy.
Plaxico was hanging out with the turkeys out there. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, Plax. Good to have you here. Hey, listen, I was teasing going to the break how important that San Francisco-Seattle game is. This is a chance for Seattle to kind of flip the way the season's gone. Just over 500 now. But a team that came into the year off of last year's success and their great first half in the playoff game against San Francisco, they can change the entire narrative of that NFC West with a win today.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, this is going to be the Niners all day, right? Geno Smith is dealing with an elbow injury. Who knows what Drew Lock's
They're saying he's going to play, but he is back.
We'll see. Then you have Kenneth Walker. He's questionable as well. But overall, man, this is about the Niners, man. If they can continue what they've been able to do is be dominant. Brock Purdy has been masterful. Masterful, I tell you, Craig Carton. Alongside what having the weapons on the outside. And this defense really come up to par. So I think it's going to be a dominant performance. I don't think the Seattle has a chance, but we'll see.
Well, look, if San Francisco wins, whether it's by a lot or a little, the division's over. It's theirs. If Seattle can pull a W out here, then you got a month plus of football where it's anyone's division.
If this game was in Seattle, I would be picking the Seattle Seahawks. But Seattle in a division game going to San Francisco is a must-win, must-have game for San Francisco. If they win this game, they lock up the division.
The game is in Seattle.
Oh,
this game is in Seattle.
Still not picking them.
Jacoby was there a couple hours ago. The game, it's in Seattle. San Fran's favored by a touchdown. So now I got to ask you the question to put you on the spot. You said 10 seconds ago.
You said you were picking them.
So I am taking Seattle. I am taking Seattle because I believe in Geno Smith. Listen, this is one of the tougher places to play in the National Football League.
Sure.
Rightfully so. I'm 0-5 in Seattle. I have never won a game there.
Wow.
I think when we played there in 2005, we actually set the NFL record by 11 false starts. And Tom Coughlin was not happy.
I can imagine he was not happy. How many of them were on you?
One.
Oh, no.
It was the second largest venue, I think, behind Kansas City. But a divisional game in Seattle against the 49ers, I'm just going to say that the crowd noise is going to have a factor in this game, and I'm taking Geno Smith.
See, I look at these two teams. One is 6-4 and one is 7-3. They're one game away in the standings, but they could not be further away in my mind in terms of quality.
But San Fran has to also be careful. They got Seattle, then they got to go to Philly and come back to Seattle, right? So they got to go into a game. They got to win this game and go into Philly with some momentum, and you have to do it Thursday night. So we'll see what happens, but this is the schedule right here. You talk about Seattle tonight, Philly, then back in Seattle. We know the Cardinals are nobodies. Baltimore is another bully game. So if you're the Niners right now, you want to put yourself in a better position come the playoffs. It starts tonight.
Which is why I think if they beat Seattle, they extend the lead to 2.5 games over Seattle, and then they can absorb a loss.
Yep, exactly.
Right? If you lose tonight's game and you're tied, you got to play Philly next week. That could be a loss. And then you're playing Seattle, and the roles could be totally reversed, where Seattle could be a game up, and then that game gives Seattle the division. So this is a huge game in the NFC West. A little bit more important for Seattle because they're trailing right now. And if they get themselves right in a game like this, all of a sudden that division can be theirs.
You're looking at down the stretch. They still have to play the Baltimore Ravens in the next month or so. So I'm looking forward to this game to see how Geno Smith and his defense is going to play and compete. But I'm going to take Seattle at home, definitely.
One thing I'm looking forward to in this game, if DK Metcalf scored, he has taken sign language classes.
I'm sorry?
He's taken sign language classes.
For what?
So when DK Metcalf gets in the end zone, he can now talk trash to the opponent without getting flagged. Here's an example. Seems like nothing.
Touchdown, right?
All right, scored a touchdown, no big deal. But then he goes to the camera. Now he's signing, and he said, number 44 is my son. So he's now talking trash in sign language to avoid the flag.
The NFL has just announced that they've hired sign language experts to read what DK Metcalf is signing so that they can fine him. That's how the NFL works.
I mean, in New York, we know sign language. We just use our birds.
We all know certain sign languages. In the fingers, maybe the back of the fingers, and the forward.
That is kind of brilliant, though.
Yeah, it is smart. It is smart.
Especially for the people at home.
I will tell you this, Plaxico Burress, 2005, the New York Giants lost to Seattle 24-21. You did not score a touchdown in that game. I did not. But you had 6 catches for 109 yards.
Oh, you went
not bad.
Yes, and you lost in overtime on a field goal.
And we lost in overtime because Jay Philly couldn't kick the ball through the upright.
Jay Philly's happy Thanksgiving, Mr. Philly.
Now
happy
hold
Thanksgiving.
on. Now I got to go check.
You know a guy.
Now
I got to call it what it is, man.
Thanksgiving.
Hey, we were both 1-2 season in NFC.
By the way, Plax is not lying. Like, it'd be one thing if you just throw a dude under the bus because he's upset looking back on a game. But Jay Feely in that game attempted 5 field goals. He made 2.
Right. Oh. And I believe that was the start of the Lawrence Tynes tenure for the
because of that game.
Wow.
Jay Feely joined us next here on the Carton
Jay Feely.
All right.
That's facts.
That's facts. That's facts. A couple years later, they won a Super Bowl. So it all worked out for the better. All right, time now for his favorite segment, Mr. Cologne's Oh Will He or Won't He? All right, Biggs, here we go. Josh Allen will outplay Jalen Hurts on Sunday. Oh, will he or won't he?
He won't. Right? He won't, solely because I don't believe in him. I believe in Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has delivered. We watched him on Monday night, pound for pound with Patrick Mahomes. Devontae Smith came into show, 6 catches for 99 yards. We ran the ball. DeAndre Smith had a day. The defense for the Eagles showed up. Jalen Hurts is arguably the best quarterback in the National Football League.
What? No, there we go.
Now, when you want to believe it or not, the Eagles are what? What's their record, Craig?
9-1.
Who's the quarterback, Craig?
Jalen Hurts.
In, period, done. Jalen Hurts.
Flax?
Hey, I gotta agree with Willie. This man actually woke up on Thanksgiving morning and had some sense. Jalen Hurts is one of the best quarterbacks in all of football, and Josh Allen will not outplay him. I said yesterday, 2 of the top MVP candidates in this league is that guy, number 1 in Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, and the other guy, number 8 in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. So he's going to have the MPV-type performance on Sunday.
All right, number 2, Dak Prescott will lead the Dallas Cowboys to another blowout win on Thanksgiving Thursday today against the Washington Commodores. Will he or won't he?
He will. What are you talking about, America? The guy's on fire ever since he got off the bye week. What he did against the Chargers and Rams, the Giants, and so on and so on. He's been dominant. You talked about it at the press conference. He's confident, composed, and he's ready to roll. He's probably felt the best he's felt in a long time. Yeah, I said Dak Prescott's 30 years old. He's been through a lot. He's matured. He knows how to handle the pressure. He doesn't need anybody standing in his way. He knows how to dominate on the field. He's done a great job of prepping around. Ferguson, Gallup, all in all. CeeDee Lamb is now a guy. So at the end of the day, man, Dak is the man for Dallas, and I'm happy to see him on Sundays.
I believe Dallas will win this game, but it won't be a blowout. One thing I've learned about playing against Washington in divisional games, they always play you tough. And especially on Thanksgiving Day, Washington playing Dallas, it's always a good game. It's never a blowout on this stage. So I think Dak and the Cowboys will win, but it will not be a blowout. I'm going to say that the Cowboys win by 6 points.
Real quick, is it different when you're playing the national televised game, and you know the rest of the league is watching you? Is the mindset different?
Absolutely. The mindset is definitely different, especially on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, all games, all eyes are on Dallas and Washington today, and I think that they will win, but it won't be a blowout.
Yeah, fun fact, I never played on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah,
I did. It wasn't pretty. Yeah.
Fun fact? Funner fact. There you go. Number 3, Kenny Pickett will be better without Matt Canada. Will he or won't he?
I mean, he won't. I mean, listen, the Steelers offense averaging 16 points a game.
Really?
We want to hope Mike Sullivan, who's going to be taking over for Matt Canada, can do something, but it's not the OC. It's Kenny Pickett. He has to be better. He has to be better within the offense. He's regressed this last year. They've pretty much just gone ground and pound, and they rely on the defense. Hopefully this is, when he comes to life, but I don't know. But, no, I don't think it's going to happen.
Hey, well, I was going to agree with you, but you know what? I got to give my guy Mike Sullivan some flowers because he was my wide receiver coach for the New York Giants, and he was Super Bowl winning wide receiver coach. He's going to put Kenny Pickett in some easy choice to make situations where he can get the ball out of his hands. And if you want to make it easy on yourself, Kenny Pickett, when George Pickens is in one-on-one, just throw him the
throw it up.
That helps.
You don't have to be spot on, accurate to get him the ball. Let that man go out there and be elite, dynamic, and make plays for you.
Yeah, but
what we just learned, though, Willie, is the same conversation Plaxico Burress had 4,293 times in his NFL career. Yo, just throw it up.
No, listen, I understand coverage. My quarterback always did, but when you have a mismatch of a guy like George Pickens and myself, and you have a guy on you that is 5'10", 6 feet, and you're faster, you're a better athlete than that guy.
Yeah.
Listen, my guy's better than your guy.
Why are you looking at
Throw
me?
him the football.
Why'd you say that?
What do you mean?
Taller, faster,
You're
better
just
looking.
not an athlete.
We have footage, Craig.
There's
footage of you.
Hey, we saw you backing up on that baseball field.
I love working with you two because Plax is just basically like, throw me the ball, everything's gonna be fine. And Willie's like, if things aren't going well, I'll start a fight. That's why I love working with you two.
Yeah, I go to strengths. That's how it
Hey,
works.
sometimes in a football game, a fight gotta start.
Yeah.
Willie's been here to
And
start it.
sometimes the quarterback just has to throw them up and hope.
Don't you the tallest guy on your team.
Yeah. Listen, it worked, right? I mean, it worked. There's no doubt about that. Real quick, Jared Goff will impress his fiancée, Christian Harper, with a huge performance. What's up, Christian? How you doing, baby?
Stop.
How you doing?
Hey, baby.
That's going to be our first Wag Wednesday guest, I'll tell you that right now. Jared Goff will do unspeakable things. I'm sorry. Jared Goff is going to play great today as the Detroit Lions beat the Green Bay Packers. Oh, will he or won't he?
He will. The guy has pride. You also got to understand against the Bears, he had 3 interceptions. That he cannot let that repeat, right? At the end of the day, this often starts with him. Rally, you got Gibbs and Amon St. Brown, if you will. But he has to play better. He knows that. He has to start fast. So we'll see what happens. But I believe in him.
Yes. Will he play the game stuffed the turkey after a big win?
Yeah.
Yes, he
I
will.
would. I definitely would. Yeah.
I mean, I won't say anything pertaining to Christian Harper, but I believe that Jared Goff will go out and play well today. Hey, listen, the Detroit Lions have to start winning on Thanksgiving Day. It's just one of those games and days that you think you begin to believe in the Detroit Lions, and they let you down on one of the biggest stages on Thanksgiving Day.
I don't know why the play I always remember is Leroy Butler taking an interception 80 yards to destroy them in Detroit. All right, we could squeeze one more in here, they're telling me, but it's not on my script, so they're going to say it in my ear. Okay. Oh, that's not cool. Craig will overcook his Thanksgiving turkey today?
What? Yes. I mean,
will he or won't he?
He will, man.
Yeah, Craig's working right now, so that someone else is putting that turkey in.
I asked you yesterday, do you brine your turkey? And you said no.
No. He said it's overrated.
Yeah, no brine.
Brining's for amateurs.
Oh, see?
Brining's for TikTok videos, not for real men and women. Sorry.
He will.
Yeah. I tell you what I will do. I will drink half a bottle of Grand Marnier. That's happening. That's happening.
Before noon.
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be a slow start. I can tell you that.
Tune in tomorrow.
Right. Coming up, we have the most embarrassing moment in professional sports history. It happened last night. And we got a little Cincinnati Bengal action for you. And Patty Mahomes coming back after the loss against the Philadelphia Eagles. And Harold, the handicapper.
There he is.
Right there.
There he is.
Pick all 3 Thanksgiving Day games against
Go, Harold.
I didn't know he had an entourage.
Show up, Harold.
I don't know which one's Harold.
Gobble, gobble.
But I'm getting hungry.
Harold.
We have Harold the Handicapper, the greatest sports football prognosticator in the history of handicapping games, and his muscle Henry. And we're about, I don't know, maybe 25 minutes or so away from having Harold on stage with us, on set with us. Harold's going to pick all 3 games against the spread today and hopefully help you win some bucks so that you can have the best Christmas possible. So that's why Harold's here. And all I know is that the fact that Harold's even alive still today is a testament to his acumen as a sports handicapper, and we're blessed to have him here on a very special Carton Show Thanksgiving. This turkey, I have no idea what this is about.
He's all over you.
I don't know what's going on with
He's
this guy.
all over you.
All right, listen, last night something happened in sports that really rankled me. And if today wasn't Thanksgiving, I'd spend an hour yelling and screaming about it. But I have to do it because last night you saw one of the most self-important, tone-deaf jerks in all of sports. And his name is Greg Popovich, right?
Do that. We love
Greg,
Pop.
Of course, Pop. Everyone loves Pop.
We love Pop.
San Antonio Spurs. Yeah, except for last night because Kawhi Leonard was at the free throw line last night playing for the Clippers against San Antonio, and the crowd booed him because that's what crowds do. Here's what Greg Popovich did before the second free throw. Watch this.
Excuse me for a second. Can we stop all the booing and let these guys play? It's got no class. It's not who we are. Not about the booing.
I've never seen that in my lifetime where a coach told the home crowd to stop booing the opposing player who famously left the franchise, whatever it was, 7, 8 years ago after winning a title. And that's a guy that doesn't get it. That's a guy that's never bought a ticket to a game. That's a guy that doesn't know what it's like when he's sitting his best players because he invented load management. And you as a fan don't go to the arena and see the best players in the league. And for him to grab the microphone and tell a sold-out crowd of 18,000 people how to behave at a game when all they were doing was booing an opponent who used to play for them, that's bad form, and Greg Popovich is bad for the NBA.
Yeah, this is an etiquette school. You go to games to boo. I mean, I would have stood up and booed Greg Popovich for saying that to me. Like, what are you doing?
To their credit, they did.
Good.
When he tried to wave them off, they booed him.
Well, keep booing him.
All that is a self-important, tone-deaf jerk. And that's where Greg Popovich is.
I mean, I can understand from his point of view where he's coming from. He's not just saying, hey, listen, if that was Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia Sixers on the other side of that, he wouldn't have grabbed that microphone and told the crowd to stop booing. It was the fact that who it was. It was Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
He played for that organization. He was one of the best players in that organization. Won 2 world champions with those guys.
Yeah.
So San Antonio is basically his home when you look at his NBA career. But he's got the mic and started and
it's obnoxious,
not boo.
It is obnoxious.
It's Kawhi Leonard.
As a ball player, when you play in your opposing, not opposing, when you used to play out one home and now you're in a new home, you got to expect to get booed. That comes with sports. You don't get the pass.
Dude,
what star has ever gotten the pass from playing against their other team?
But think about the ego to walk over to the scorer's table, grab the microphone mid-free throw, and tell the crowd, stop booing the guy who's playing for the other team.
It wasn't like Kawhi was crying either.
Right. Kawhi doesn't give a rat's rear end. Because it's been 10 years since he played.
If it was James Harden, he wouldn't have did that. Trust me.
Maybe not, but it's wrong. And the NBA should punish him for doing that. We're not living in your world, Greg. You're blessed to be on the sideline of an NBA team, and you should act like it. It's not a right. It's a privilege to be part of the NBA. It's not your world. And let me give you, if I may, an example of the right way for a coach to talk to an unruly crowd, which they were not last night. They were merely booing. I'm going to put you in the Carton Show time machine. All right? 1989, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns. And Bengals fans start throwing stuff on the field, right? And they're going to give the Bengals a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct because the fans are unruly. Sam Weiss gets the microphone, and this is what he did.
I doubt that. Sam on the... Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, and get them out of here. You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
That ingratiated him to the city of Cincinnati forever. You don't live in Cleveland, you animals. You live in Cincinnati. That's classy.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's not tone deaf. That's on the mark. Greg Popovich lost sight of what's right and what's wrong in the NBA because everybody kisses his ass. And what he did last night was wrong and should be punished by the NBA.
Yeah.
All right?
He won't be punished.
Now let's get back to football.
Yeah!
Because it's Thanksgiving Thursday and a little something we like to call First and Football.
First down, we start with a gentleman named by the name of Patrick Mahomes. He knows what he's up against as they face the Raiders. He's up against that man, Max Crosby, and he spoke about the force that is Max Crosby. Here's Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, I don't like playing against him because I know what type of player he is and the mindset he comes in with. Yeah, I mean, I don't talk a ton of trash. I mean, I just try to stay fired up and go out there and win. And he's the same way. He wants to win as much as anybody, and that's why I have so much respect for him. But at the end of the day, we're competing. That's what competitors do.
So they play in Las Vegas on Sunday.
Yeah.
They're heavily favored. Do you expect them to make light work of the Raiders?
I give the Raiders credit, and Antonio Pierce, I know you're very good friends with, or at least were, for getting that team 8th through the first 2 games against the Jets and Giants. Maybe not the toughest opponents.
No.
But they played their asses off against Miami last week.
They did.
And held that Dolphin offense to 21 points. And Antonio's doing a great job in this interim process, trying to earn the job beyond that. But, we've had something on the screen there that I wish you guys could go back to, which is always comical to me. Patrick Mahomes, in his career against the Raiders, it said there's 9-1, or at least the last 10 games he's played the Raiders. He's 9-1. He ain't worried about the Raiders. Now, here's the problem with that. He had never lost against the Denver Broncos in Denver until a few weeks ago.
Correct.
So eventually those streaks do come to an end. And I do think the Raiders are playing, quote-unquote, inspired football, better football. But does anybody really think that Aiden O'Connell is going to outperform Patrick Mahomes and the Raiders are going to win this game?
I don't think it's about outperforming Patrick Mahomes. But one thing I know about Antonio Pierce, do not think he is not taking heed to understanding and knowing why the Kansas City Chiefs aren't scoring in the second half. He's very smart, he's very intelligent, and if you look at what they did defensively and slowing down the Miami Dolphins last week, who I said was the most explosive offense in football, he's one of those guys where he will find some tendencies and things that they're doing to slow them down even more, not just in the second half, but the entire game. I think it's a trap game for Kansas City.
Yeah, and listen, their record's ridiculous. Like, they've dominated the AFC West for so long now that those numbers are so inflated, they're crazy. Right. And at some point, like against Denver a few weeks ago, you're going to lose. And I keep going back to what Mahomes said after that second Denver game, where, the Broncos win for the first time against Pat. And he's like, I think they may have created the blueprint. And then since then, they have not scored a point in the second half, which is so unlike the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, but we also got to recognize, you go back to that game against the Eagles, that Eagles front, that D-line, they got after Patrick Mahomes, right? If it wasn't Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis or even Hassan Reddick, they put work on those tackles. So, you do need to worry about Max Crosby because it's about pressure and getting after the quarterback, and he hustles his tail off to the ball. But Patrick Mahomes right now, there's a disconnect with him and his receiving core.
Well, there's certainly a spotlight on those receivers now after all those drops.
Right, but now it's to the point, how long are we going to keep talking about it? If you're Andy Reid, you got to start running the ball. You have to now become more run dominant with Isaiah Pacheco.
But you can't change who you are, right?
You can't, but you got to now save him because you're at the point where you had a game-winning touchdown get blown on Monday Night Football. It wasn't just a headline at this point. Now it's a legit problem because now with Kelsey now at age 34, he's talking to retirement. Right. He said you said he's felt distracted. I think he's distracted.
Clearly distracted.
He had the fumble. He had another drop in a crucial moment. Now the one bright spot in your offense is starting to look dim. What do you do now? You have to be able to lean on your run game.
Listen, obviously no one's going to ask Aiden O'Connell to match Mahomes. That's not fair to ask for a young kid who's only played, 3 football games in the NFL in his lifetime. You're really saying to the Raiders defense, do what you did against Miami. Figure out a way to, control them, even if you let Tyreek get his numbers. And that's what the Raiders did. Tyreek had 10 catches for $146, and he missed the series when he came off the field. So it was almost as if they said, we know we can't really stop him. Maybe contain him here and there, but we can't stop him. But nobody else is going to beat us.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those games where, defensively for the Raiders, where, they're going to put Max Crosby in different situations like Michael Parsons. You put him on the edge. So now Kansas City has to chip with the left tackle, Juwan Taylor, and now you got to keep the running back in. But is it me or is that number 74, Juwan Taylor, jumps offside?
Oh, every single play. Called for it on
every
Monday.
single play, he jumps offside on the pass play.
Yeah. Every single time. When you got someone like Max Crosby across from you, he's going to do it 4 times and then getting called once. Yeah. Moving on to second down in football, Jamar Chase. He is without Joe Burrow. However, he's excited about his potential connection with his new quarterback, Jake Browning. Here's Jamar keeping it positive.
We'll show y'all this week, right? So, I don't know. You got to wait to see. Wait for the show, man.
And the music.
Okay, we're going to show y'all, right?
I don't know what
did he seem confident to you, Craig?
Yeah, but listen, that's what you guys are, wide receivers.
What you mean, you guys?
You guys.
Get out of here. That's what he means, you guys.
That's what wide receivers are today, right? It's
Hey, you're actually co-signing this?
Yes, I am.
I thought you was my dog, man. It's like me and you over here, they over there.
No.
It's uber confident, guys.
Come on,
it's like
man.
you said 20 minutes ago, Plax. Throw it up, I'll catch it.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, that's
In
what Jamar
one-on-one
said.
situation.
That's what Jamar said.
Not every play, which would be nice, but not every,
All Jamar Chase is saying is, it don't matter who the quarterback is, I'm open. All right? So protect the quarterback. I've told the quarterback all week long, I'm open, and that's what you're going to see. There was a game about a month and a half ago where Jamar Chase got targeted 19 times, remember? And he had that crazy game. It was like his first big game of the year after people were questioning what's wrong with the Bengals offense, right? He will be targeted in this game a record-setting 30 times. Because if I'm Jake Browning, and I've never played NFL football really before, and my college career wasn't all that good either, I'm like, dog, I'm just going to keep giving it to you.
Where's number one?
You tell me you're always open. We're about to find out. You're going to have a record-setting game where it's going to be, and here's Browning. Chase is open. And it's going to be second down. And Chase is, and now I go to Higgins.
Bad pass.
He plays with Kansas City.
Bad pass. That was behind me.
Anyhow, you're going to see, thank you. You're going to see a lot of that. See, when I go to Plax, it gets caught. That's the difference. When I go to Willie.
Oh, easy money. Come on, give it to me. What do you think? And I spiked that. I can do it here.
Don't do that here.
Yeah.
Anyhow, look, that's what wide receivers say. I think Jamar Chase is going to be frustrated in this game because I don't believe until I see it. You're asking Jake Browning to step into, basically, golden shoes, which is what Joe Burrow is, and save the season for the Bengals. And nobody thinks he really can.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we underestimate the chemistry that Jamar Chase had with Joe Burrow. They played together in college, right? And then out there together in the NFL, and they've been the best 1-2 punch in the league right now. So Jake Browning doesn't know Jamar Chase, right?
Oh, he knows him.
But
they've been living together all week.
But doesn't know to the standpoint where, hey, if I got to get you the ball, if I need you to get me the ball, can you get it there?
Hey, when you're Jamar Chase and you're that wide open, you don't need chemistry with a quarterback.
Didn't you once tell us that you used to drive by Ben's house just to remind him that you were around?
No, he's driving by my house.
Moving on to third and football. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni spoke about the confidence that his team has after the big win against the Chiefs. Here's the head coach, Sirianni.
It's good to have confidence going. It's good to believe in each other. It's good to believe in the team. But we also know that believing in ourselves and believing in this team is a product of the work that we put in, not only the past, but more so about the work we're going to put in this week to get ready for this game. And so I think there's a big power that there is in belief.
They have a lot of confidence. They just came off a big win. However, we spoke about it earlier. I have an inkling, I have a feeling that the Bills are going to upset the Eagles, and I feel like I'm alone here.
I'm with you. I'll ride that.
That's my guy, Craig.
I'll ride that.
Put your hand down. That's my guy, Craig.
Not you. Put your hand down.
Not you.
Of all people. I'll ride that pony with you. It's funny. I have family over for Thanksgiving. A lot of them are from Philly. And, boy, they love Plaxico Burress now. They're like, you need to let Plaxico talk more. He loves Philadelphia. And they love the story when you went back for the second cheesesteak, the whole thing. Look, the Eagles are the best team right now, record-wise. No one's going to argue that. They're obviously going to win the NFC East, barring something crazy in the last month and a half with the Dallas Cowboys. But what's weird is that they don't dominate. They don't blow teams out. And I'm not saying you even have to. They know how to win. every close game, other than the Jet game, obviously, they just found a way to win. Whether it's the other team making a late mistake or the Eagles being really on point with the greatness of Jalen Hurts, they know how to win. At some point, though, a team's going to beat them.
Thank you.
Right? And I think this is the Bills' season right now.
Thank you.
I think if the Bills lose this game, they are not making the playoffs. And I think you're going to get a spirited effort from the Buffalo Bills. Look, if you told me Philly wins, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be crazy and guarantee you Bills win. But I think you get a really good performance out of Buffalo in this game.
Yeah, I think you get a really good performance out of the Eagles, right? You go back to Monday's game, there was a lot of question about Jalen Hurts' knee and can he be mobile, right? He ran the ball.
And he does wear a brace now.
He does wear a brace. A lot of times you saw Jason Kelce, the center, kind of pull out and lead the way. So the fact that he's now using his arms and legs makes him a more dynamic offense. Now that you see Devontae Smith kind of clone to the fold. What I'm most worried, if you're the Buffalo Bills, you need to worry about your run defense, right? Because they're giving up 100 yards per game on the ground. So as much as you want to love the fact that Josh Allen is confident, they got a new OC and all that, defensively, they played a Jets team who didn't run the ball.
You know what's interesting about what you just said, and you guys have talked about it a lot. When we think of Philadelphia on offense, it's Jalen Hurts, rightfully so. It's A.J. Brown, rightfully so. And Devontae, who's a great wide receiver, not getting as much attention because A.J. was having this crazy statistical run of 150 games, 6 straight weeks, whatever it was. But the Eagles, when they want to, run the ball as well as anybody.
Easy money.
And that's the interesting thing about the Eagles is that they can beat you to death by running the football because that offensive line is the best offensive line in the game. What I want out of Philly, I want to see Philadelphia blow a good team out and kind of assert themselves as, you guys think we've been messing around? F around and find out what we're all about. Yeah, but they haven't had that game yet.
And Craig can attest to this. It's week 11, right? In week 11, a lot of guys are trying to figure themselves out from an injury standpoint.
Okay.
You got everybody hobbled and beat up. So the fact that they are winning, they're 9-1. They went to Arrowhead where Andy Reid was undefeated against the Eagles, 44-10 at home, and won in an ugly manner. You got to give them their flowers.
So hold on. They went to Arrowhead.
Yeah.
They beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
After the game, we have video of Nick Sirianni walking off the field and into the tunnel. And he had some words for Chiefs fans.
All right.
Okay.
See ya!
Max and Willie, how do you feel about the head coach?
I love that.
I love it, man. Nick Sirianni is taking on the character of his city.
There you go.
Philadelphia. I really love it. But for fans, they just think that you can say anybody just because we're in a sporting arena and because we're quote-unquote professionals and coaches that we can't say anything
we
back.
Gonna clap
Listen, fans say things to coaches and players in arenas and stadiums that they would never say to you in person.
Absolutely correct.
And when I see Nick Sirianni bite back and say the things that he did, you got to love that about your coach.
So two things. One, fans are not the only people that say stuff to you and about you that they would never say to your face. Sports talk radio hosts do it daily. Right?
I've been in certain places and some of the things that fans have said to you, you just turn around and you look at them.
You're like, how were you raised? You weren't raised that way.
You know what I mean?
Now, the only knock on this is he did it in the tunnel. Like, let's go.
What do you want me to do it, Craig? Game's over.
That's like the typical Philly way. I'm going to talk smack about you when you can't get me. I'm going to be in the tunnel and do it.
Sirianni does this after road wins. It seems like after every Eagles road win, he goes and celebrates with the Eagles fans. He yells some stuff in the tunnel and he does this.
What Plack said is right. There's sometimes coaches take on the personality of a town, right? The way they look, the way they sound, the way they act.
Dan Campbell.
And Dan Campbell for sure. Yep. I thought Rex kind of did it early on here in New York. Before he got kind of GQ and all that stuff. But Nick Sirianni looks like a lot of dudes I used to drink with in Philadelphia, where he's put on a couple pounds, the face is a little sloppy. You know he's going home with a couple cheesesteaks.
He's not groomed.
Like he is a Philadelphian.
Wears the same clothes 3 days in a row.
So, there you go. Well, I'm being told that we're at a very interesting stage of our show.
Oh, no.
Because it is pick time. And making the picks today in all 3 games live in studio. Harold. It's going to go one way or the other. This is a very exciting moment for us because we have the greatest prognosticator in the history of wagering. This is Harold the handicapper. This is Steve. And let me just acknowledge that Steve, who's Harold's handler, is also a Marine Corps veteran. And obviously, we appreciate your service to our country. All right, so here's how it's going to go. We're going to give you all 3 games against the spread. Harold, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to pick the winner, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so game number 1, we have the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, and the Lions are favored by 7.5 points.
Keep that in mind,
We're going to
Harold.
put a little feed in each bowl. Go ahead, Turkey Boy. All right. And we're going to put Harold down. Harold's going to pick the winner by which bowl he goes to, whether it's the Green Bay Bowl or the Detroit Bowl. There he goes.
Oh, Harold.
Go ahead, Harold.
Oh, Harold's thinking.
Who's going to win the game and cover the spread? All right.
All right, 7.5 points.
Here we go.
Keep that in
It's a
mind. Over
7.5
touchdown,
point
Harold.
spread.
Take your time, Harold.
Harold doesn't like this game
Take
a
your
much.
time.
Harold's thinking about it.
Maybe shake
he's
the
thinking
food
Green
some
Bay.
more.
It's something about Craig's voice that pisses him off.
Yeah, maybe. All right, maybe he's not hungry.
Pour some more if you like.
Pour some more food in there, please, Turkey
What
Boy.
does it mean when they
If you don't mind.
they
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Harold?
All right, here we go. Here we go.
There you go. You can keep pouring.
Go ahead, keep pouring food. He's not going to attack you.
No, he's going Lions.
And
Oh, now you're distracting him. Lions!
All right. Harold the handicapper has now officially picked the Detroit Lions
Against the
to
spread.
cover the spread. Detroit is laying 7.5 points in that game against the Green Bay Packers. Plax, your thoughts on that?
Based off of how much food Harold is eating, it looks like it's going to be more. Yeah, it's going to be a blowout.
So it's going to be a blowout.
Oh, yeah, the Lions by 21.
All right. You want to jump in real quick, Willie, on that?
Yeah, I feel like Harold sees me as competition. I just want to let Harold know I want no smoke, all right? So you stay on your side, you continue to pick Harold, and I'm fine.
Harold's the one that wants no smoke.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a tough day for his
Very
people.
fair.
You know what I'm
Very
saying?
fair.
All right. Game number 2. We have, of course, the Dallas Cowboys at home against the Washington Commandos. The Dallas Cowboys are now favored. I've seen it at 13, even 13.5. We'll call it 13. Maybe we can help turn Harold around here. And go ahead, pour the feed in again, if you don't mind, Turkey Boy. There you go. And let's see if Harold has any interest in this game. This is between the Dallas Cowboys. And by the way, he may decide, you know what? We don't bet on every game.
Why is Harold looking at me like that?
Which is really the response.
Yeah.
Don't talk back to me, Harold.
Harold.
Harold did. Steve just whispered to me. Harold said, I don't like this game. And you're not going to make me bet it. We're going to pick it instead, though, if Harold doesn't want to. I'll start with you, Willie. Dallas Cowboys favored by almost 2 touchdowns against Washington. Go ahead.
I'm not letting my eyes off Harold, but I got the Cowboys. Dak's coming off a big game against Carolina. Defense is playing out of his mind. I got the Cowboys in dominant fashion winning this one.
I feel like Harold's stalking me.
Right.
You know what?
It's something about you.
The energy that Harold's giving me right now, I'm just going to say that's going to be a tie.
A tie?
He's saying it's a stay away game.
Yeah.
As someone who gambles a lot on football, he's like, I don't like this one. The spread is very big. It feels like sorry, Harold.
Why you jump?
It's going to be a tie.
It feels like one of those games where it's a backdoor cover where the Cowboys are up by 14. The Commanders score a touchdown that no one cares about except the people in the game. So
Harold, do you know anything, Harold?
Harold.
Blink twice if you think the Cowboys are going to win, Harold.
Look, I'm a city boy. And when he ruffles those feathers,
Craig, I'm for the Bronx.
I worry a little bit.
I usually have my turkey with cheese.
Harold.
There we go.
Harold.
Okay, wait. Harold's going to make a pick.
Okay.
Real quick, Dallas Cowboys or Washington.
There we go.
Shake the food one more time if you don't mind.
Yes.
And that's a lot of food.
That's a
All right,
lot.
no pick from Harold.
Oh, Harold, stay away game.
Harold's telling you to
what
be
you want,
responsible today. You don't have to wager on every single game. Which brings us to the last game. Seattle and San Francisco. San Francisco is favored in this game by a touchdown. That's right, a touchdown, Howard, you're right.
Yeah.
By a full touchdown. And if Seattle wins this game, they tie San Francisco atop the NFC West. So as the guys get the pick bowls ready to go,
Right.
Willie, I'll start with you. San Fran favored by a touchdown. I know what Plank said about 20 minutes ago. What do you think?
Yeah, I got easy money for the Brock Purdy and company. I think they're going to dominate the Seahawks. The Seahawks aren't ready for this type of outfit. The 49ers are motivated and ready to go. You talk about division win, they got to have it. So I got the Niners.
I'm being told that there's a backup turkey in case Harold wasn't feeling it.
No.
But no, we can't. Okay, I was just checking there. All right, Plax, your thoughts on this game?
Harold will be very proud of me because I am going to stay in the Bird family. And stay with my pick of the Seattle Seahawks playing at home. I just think in the divisional game that the Seattle Seahawks will get it done today, knowing that they have to win this game.
We got
Harold! Stay in the race
Harold.
Hey, what's out of here?
I was trying to force Harold to pick San Francisco.
He was listening to what I
was
said.
trying to do.
He was listening to what I said.
Look,
it's the Bird family.
There are times you forget that it is a bird and it can fly short distances.
Yes.
But guess what? Harold's backup assistant handicapper, Henry, is now here.
Oh, Henry.
I'm going to put this food back here in front of San Francisco real quick. And maybe Henry has an interest in picking this game. Shake the food here.
We got 2 turkeys, people.
All right. This is the backup turkey.
Yep.
Pour some food. Pour a little food in there.
Henry, it's
and see if Henry wants
7.5
to.
points, Henry. The
wants to pick the game.
Niners are favored, just so you know. It's over a touchdown, so keep that in consideration before you make this pick.
All right, so here's what we learned here today. Harold only made 1 pick, and that's fine, but now all the pressure's on. He's got to get that 1 game right, and that was the Detroit Lions laying 7.5 against the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
For his well-being and the rest of everyone's well-being, fingers are crossed that the Detroit Lions take care of business against the Green Bay Packers. Steve, I appreciate you coming here, and the beautiful. Stop me. Right. Exactly.
Why
right.
they closing in on you, Craig?
Because you keep pushing me towards them. That's all.
Right.
These turkeys never had Bronx meat. They're coming. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to break down all 3 games for you today and all the other headlines, not just in the NFL, but the NBA last night. It's a Thanksgiving special right here. Gobble, 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 gobble on FS1.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Take a break, guys.
Well, if you are just tuning in, this happened moments ago. Harold, the handicapper, picked the Detroit Lions right there.
Harold.
Nice job. That's right. And passed on the other 2 games. So it's a good lesson for those of you at home today. You don't have to gamble on every game. Pick the one you like the best, and you can put your money behind that. That's a smart cookie right there, that turkey. And I honestly thought I was going to get pecked.
I was actually.
You kept pushing me.
Well, I wanted to see it.
That turkey doesn't like white meat, thank God. Hey. Yeah.
Love it.
Anyhow.
Love it.
Look, if they make us work at Thanksgiving, we're going to have fun. That's all I can promise
Yes, Lord.
you. Jacoby is here with First and Football.
We will start with our headline, which is the game that Harold picked, the Detroit Lions. And the Detroit Lions head coach, as Willie calls him, Man Campbell, talk about what a privilege it is to play on Turkey Day.
I do think it's special, and it's a privilege to be able to play on Thanksgiving Day. You know, it's a privilege for our guys, and everybody's watching.
Yep.
So I know that everyone went to gamble on the Lions because of Harold's pick.
Yeah, you should.
But take this into account. When the moon is waxing in the gibbous phase, the Lions on Thanksgiving are 0-12. So we have a waxing gibbous phase moon right now, and it's Thanksgiving. The Lions are 0-12 under those circumstances. Does that mean we'll see an upset?
That full screen makes us having a live turkey picking game seem like the most competent thing we've ever done.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't know what gibbous or Maximus or waxing or any of that crap is. It ain't got no impact on the outcome of today's game. I don't know where you got it from. I'm not even sure if it's
I don't even know where you got it from.
I'm actually shocked.
We had a turkey picking the game 30 seconds ago, and now it's like, oh, the moon doesn't matter, guy. What are you talking about?
But who counts moons when you come to stats?
Look, here's the deal. The moon, the sun, the turkey, whatever. whatever it is. The Lions are just a much better team than the Green Bay Packers. And I do think games like this, what Dan Campbell said, which is interesting, is, the privilege of playing on Thanksgiving, having all of America watching your game. Like, there'll be 20 million people watching this game on Fox in a couple hours. And the reality is that the Detroit Lions as a franchise have been abused so badly over the last 3 decades by the Green Bay Packers that this is their chance, right? They're playing this game for Megatron. They're playing this game for Barry Sanders.
For Scott Mitchell.
For Scott Mitchell. Who told everybody to go F off, right?
Robert Porsche.
This is for Wayne Fonts.
Yeah.
This is for whoever you guys just said. This is for Eric Kramer.
Yeah.
This is for those guys.
Wow.
They are going to beat the Packers by 90 if they can to get back for all the bad games they had to suffer with against Green Bay.
Hey, I will tell you this. If the Detroit Lions let the Green Bay Packers come in there to win this game, when the sun goes down and the moon comes out, I'm going to go outside my house and I'm going to look up to see what a waxing giving moon is because they will be 0-13 with it.
Yeah.
And the Detroit Lions will win an honorary passage day for John Madden, which I think is dope, the late, great John Madden, the inventor of the turducken.
Yeah, well, Paul Prudhomme invented it, but John Madden popularized it, as you know. No, but look, it's great that they do that. But what Black just said is right. Now I've got an added interest in the outcome of this game.
Are we looking at moves now, Craig?
God forbid Detroit loses this game. I'm going to get a text message from Jacoby calling me out for mocking his gibbous moon thing.
It's a waxing.
And I'm going to go outside like Plax is to see what the hell waxing gibbous looks like.
I don't know. But the bottom line, when it comes to this game right now, you got to talk about the run game for the Detroit Lions. It's furious, and it matches the personality of Matt Campbell, Man Campbell, as I like to call him. Look at downhill runs, finishing. You talk about this line that pulls and seals up blocks. The bottom line is the Detroit Lions, valid they have Jared Goff, valid he's doing a hell of a job in the passing game. We don't talk enough about how David Montgomery and absolute Jamar Gibbs are terrorizing defenses. This is because of their physicality coming downhill and opposing their pressure with that offensive
And what's
line.
crazy about the Lions' run game, and Detroit doesn't forget about it for sure, and Philadelphia is thankful for it, is that they had DeAndre Swift on that roster.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Swift's a bad man when it comes to the Philly offense. And not only did they trade him and give him to Philadelphia, their running game is damn good.
They drafted a running back in the first round.
Right.
And so when you talk about this run game by the Detroit Lions, Matt Campbell has said it, man. Like, listen, we're going to play defense, but we're going to punch you in the mouth. You punch us, we're going to punch you back. And that's what they mimic. And you talk about one thing I love about him especially, and maybe Plaster, you can adhere to this. A lot of guys on his staff are former football players. You talk about Dre Bly. You talk about Aaron Glenn. Guys who played the game. So yes, Antoine Randall, who we both play with. What's great about that, man, as a player, when you go to a coach, man, you talk to him about what you're going through and what you need. He can tell you firsthand because he played it. You know what I mean? So, Man Campbell, a.k.a. Dan Campbell, has done a great job of making a football-first culture. And that's why those fans come out, they support him everything he does right behind this team.
I mean, definitely, the dialogue between a player and a coach versus a coach that hasn't played and a coach that has played is an entirely different experience for the player. Because as a player, you know exactly how the head coach feels, and the head coach knows how the players feel.
Yeah, listen, and that's more the norm now than it's ever been, where you're hiring guys. And the NFL actually has a program for guys that want to get into coaching at some level. And look, Antonio Pierce. Like, if you told me Antonio Pierce would be a head coach when I was here in New York doing radio, and he was on those Giants teams, that's not the reputation he had. But Antonio Pierce, another guy getting a shot, who's obviously making the most out of it. Aaron Glenn. I never thought Aaron Glenn was going to be a defensive coordinator.
Man, he was a
Dude Staley.
You didn't like playing against Aaron.
Oh, my gosh.
And you got a foot on him, too.
Like, who in the hell is this little mosquito? Get rid of. He was just always around, always in the right place, making plays. But it's gratifying to see guys that you played with, and they played at a high level, get an opportunity to coach at this level.
I know we're wrapping up this game, so just let me very quickly. The Turkey picked Detroit by over a touchdown. You guys all, Detroit wins easily? Everyone's on board with that?
Detroit.
All right, great. So that's the Detroit Green Bay game. Go
But
ahead.
the problem is Harold, the handicapper, the turkey that we just had picking games, decided not to pick the Commanders-Cowboys game. I think Harold knows what's going on. They're favored by 12.5 points. They will be hosting the Commanders, but there's a feeling amongst Harold and the staff here that there could be potential for an upset or a close game. Do you agree with Harold?
I appreciate his responsible gambling. If you don't love the game, don't bet the game. So I think that's great.
That's how we felt.
That being said, this spread's going to get to 14 by the time they kick off later this afternoon because that's how Cowboy fans are, and there's more them than anyone else. But that's irrelevant. The question is, does Dallas do what they did against Carolina, the Giants, the Jets, the Patriots, etc.? And I think they win. I don't think they lose this game like they did to the Arizona Cardinals, but I don't think they come out of the gate and have a 21-point lead after a quarter because Washington does have an offense from time to time that can score. They've got McLaren, of course, who's a great wide receiver. You know, their quarterback, while he's under the most pressure in the league, also leads the league, or did for a while, in passing yards. And every once in a while they prove they don't mind running the ball either.
Right.
So it's an interesting team, Washington. They're not great. I don't think they're well coached anymore. I think Ron Rivera's playing out the string here. Yeah, I think Ron Rivera was a good coach. I don't think he's a good coach anymore. I don't think he knows his time is short there.
Yeah, it would be a damn shame if the Cowboys and Dak Prescott don't start off fast because the Commanders' secondary is horrible. Every number one receiver, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, especially A.J. Brown, both times he played him, had over 100 receivers.
Well, then they should come out of the gate passing the ball, scoring touchdowns.
I would, by the way.
Yeah, I think Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game, but when you start talking 12, 14 points in a divisional game, listen, Washington just got embarrassed last week at home against Tommy DeVito and the Giants, so I think they're going to come out and play a lot better defensively than everybody thinks.
I think you might see Washington not just lose this game, they might fire Ron Rivera, they might bring in Eric Bieniemy as the interim head coach and have him audition as a head coach.
Wow, you are just a guru today.
That's going to happen.
I got to say something. This is the funkiest set of smell. Between the fish and the turkey, and I thought I had my shoes off. That's all the animals.
Don't disrespect my fart.
To be fair, that fish thing feels like it happened 3 days ago. That being said, the Cowboys are favored by damn near 2 touchdowns. And what they have done this year when in this situation is show up big and blow teams out. Like the one knock on Dallas, similar to Miami, is wake me up when you beat a good team or a team that's at least over 500. But what they have done against the bad teams is dominate them. If you look at their games, New England, Jets, both games against the Giants and Carolina, those games aren't close.
Right. Yeah, you can't convince me today if Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys go out and win this game by 3 or 6 points, and he was just saying the other day that he was playing the best football, and he's in the zone. So they need to go out and convincingly beat Washington if they want to make me and everybody else believe it.
Especially after you piggyback against our boy Tommy DeVito, who dropped 3 touchdowns on it, the AKA America's Mama's boy. Like you cannot have a subpar performance, especially when you got Tommy DeVito
and
doing
look,
what he
the
did.
Cowboys are in a weird spot. They win this game by 30. The Cowboy haters, and there's lots of them out there, are going to come out and say, oh, another bad team. Your season starts next week. Yeah. That's what a lot of people are going to say. So they're in this weird spot, the Cowboys are, where they almost can't win anybody over. Like if it's a close game, we're all going to say, see, I don't know about those Cowboys. If they blow Washington out, it's going to be, well, they're a bad team. You should have blown them out. Wake me up when you beat a good team. So they're in a weird spot.
Yeah, but Craig, I don't know if we can pull up their schedule real quick. Pull up their schedule. Listen, they have Washington tonight. They got Seattle.
And then here we go.
They got to win this game. So it doesn't matter how they perform. They got to win it.
I mean, let's be honest. The rest of the remaining schedule that the Cowboys have, there's only one real meaningful game. If they win, you can say, okay, the Cowboys will start taking them serious.
The Philly game?
But this is
against Philly.
But this is all a blender.
You beat Seattle. You expect them to win that game.
Okay.
You expect them to. Well, they play at Buffalo.
I'm saying, after this game, they're in the blender. You talking about Seahawks, Eagles, Bills back. Dolphins can score, Lions are them, and then you go back to watch. So from 13 to 17, they better have their chin straps ready.
Are you saying we were in a blender and now we're saving lives?
Yeah.
You have to get the Ravens. In any event, you're right. After this game, it's 5 straight weeks against playoff teams and winning teams until the end of the season against Washington, which is why no matter what the Cowboys do today, a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's fine and dandy. Wake me up in a couple weeks after you play Seattle, Philadelphia, and Buffalo. You win those games, then we're going to have the conversation about how far the Cowboys can go.
Our third headline is our third NFC divisional game, and this one is big. It is the Seahawks against the 49ers. You look at those records right there. If the Seahawks win, they could pull even with the 49ers with their record. And do you think that the 49ers will have a problem in Seattle against the Seahawks?
No, I don't actually. I don't think Seattle's all that good this year, and I don't know what the hell happened to Lockett or DK Metcalf or that offense. And Kenny Walker's probably not playing in this game after getting hurt last week, and without the ability to run the ball as well as he runs the ball, they become even more one-dimensional for me. Plus, I can't get off my mountain. Right? And I've been telling you, despite you yelling at me all week, that San Francisco's the best team in football.
They are.
And you're going to see that again tonight. They're favored by a touchdown on the road for a reason. Because they're going to dominate the Seattle Seahawks, and that guy's going to get right back into the MVP conversation.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a sneaky, scrappy game. We forget that the Seattle
ain't any good.
Seattle Seahawks defense has Bobby Wagner. They brought in Leonard Williams. So they're doing a good job of holding the fort. Offensively, they've been stagnant. They got to get DK going a little bit more. Kenneth Walker, I know he's questionable with his injury, but Geno with the elbow.
By the way, Geno's banged up, too.
Yeah, Geno's banged up. So
if Drew Lock plays, you ain't winning that game.
Well,
right?
It's over.
Geno saw Drew Lock playing, and he was like, I got to get back in there.
They're saying he's going to start, but, I mean, one hit could change that whole thing. Look, Seattle is a good team. Fine. San Francisco's a great
out
team.
for San Francisco also.
Yeah, Hufanga.
Yeah, I'm not worried about San Francisco in this game. I think they hit their stride. They dealt with their adversity. They lost the 3 games. They came back out fine. The 12th man's the most overrated thing there is.
12th man is real.
Glasgow has never won in Seattle.
Yeah, San Fran went into Seattle last year and won a playoff game. 12th man, my tush. All right, let's remember that. With an inexperienced rookie quarterback, they won on the road. That being said,
Purdy's unexperienced.
We're looking at today's games. Like all 3 favorites are favored by a touchdown or more. This could be like blowout central today across the board. If not, you're going to get a close game that no one expects.
Hey, the lines for today, if every team is supposed to win by a touchdown, it's going to be some upsets. Trust me.
Yeah,
I don't think every game was going to be won by a touchdown.
All right, so let's play this out. Of the 3 games,
which one?
You get to pick one upset. And I'm not going to say you have to be right, but you did just say there's going to be an upset. What team's most likely to have the upset win?
Seattle.
Seattle over San Francisco at home.
So Bobby Wagner, bringing Leonard Williams. I got to go with that offense. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, 12th man, and Geno Smith.
All right, well, let's make our picks official now, Plax. Yeah. We'll start with Jacoby. You can pick 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, whatever you want. There are 3 games today. Who do you like and why?
Well, I like the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
You know why? Because I believe in Harold. Harold the handicapper. We had a live turkey here. The live turkey said to me, pick the Lions, and I'm going with the Lions, and I'm going to go heavy, and I'm so excited about it.
Okay, that game, by the way, of course, is on Fox. Let's not forget that. 12:30 kick. Pregame starts at 10:30 with the gang here in Manhattan. Who do you like,
I've already said it 3 times.
Seattle
Seahawks. I'm staying away from the Cowboys and the Washington game, just like Harold the handicapper, and I'm going to stick with my game, Geno Smith.
But here's what's interesting. You're not just saying they're going to cover the spread. I think you have them winning the game outright.
What did Brock Purdy ever do to you?
Listen, I've been in this venue. I played there. I know how difficult it can be to play. And you're saying that Seattle Seahawks are not a good football team. They're 6-4. If they win this football game
today,
they're
tied for first.
Everything changes.
Matter of fact, they'd be in first place because they'd have the tiebreaker against San Francisco because it's the first time they're playing each other. That's what's at stake tonight. Whoever wins this game now owns the division. Willie, they're asking me to have you do quickly here. Who do you like?
Yeah, Plex is talking like a traumatized and beaten man. I got the Niners. Niners going to roll the Seahawks. It's not even going to be close, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm being told that we have a quick social media reference to Harold the handicapper. All these tough guys running from turkeys is one of the funniest things I've seen on TV.
That's not true.
In a long time.
I'm a city boy.
Here's video to back it up. As the turkey. I mean, I flinched. I didn't run anywhere. I flinched.
But look at the slow walk. Like, all right, now, Harold.
Yeah. Your body language doesn't say you want
it. The best thing is the Marine didn't move an inch right there.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we appreciate you letting us in your homes here on this 2023 Thanksgiving. All the best to you, and thank you for making the show successful. We will be back again tomorrow for a very special Black Friday edition of The Carton Show. We may or may not come in with large screen TVs from our 3 o'clock in the morning shopping.
Won't be me.
I know I'm going to have a bottle of Grand Marnier with me, though. That's a fact.
Yes.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving. God bless. Have a great day.
Happy Thanksgiving.